Hello, my name is Dr. Gaurav Kant Shangadhar from the Department of Mathematics and Computer Science from the School of Basic Sciences in Babu Banarsi Das University. Today I am going to take up the lecture on object-oriented properties of Java programming language. The basic object-oriented principles such as encapsulation, overloading as well the object-oriented approach to design will be discussed. Now, what you already know that I expect is there are different approaches to writing computer programs. They all involve decomposing your programs in two parts. Okay, what is the difference between the approaches? Like there are decomposition approaches, that is breaking things into down the level. There are approaches to decompose. You have been introduced thus far are procedural and object oriented. Like C is a procedural language, and C++ a object-oriented programming language. Now, an example of the procedural approach, that is the presentation software, is for example, PowerPoint. How is it object-oriented? Because it can be grouped under various classes like filing, editing, helping, and then in the case of filing, there is inheritance shown by the creating new document, opening a document, saving a document, exiting a program. So in this way a hierarchical information is shown. And what will you learn? You will learn object oriented programming as a whole. A breakdown approach is an example of object oriented programming approach. For example, like in zoo there are animals, and in animals there can be lions, tigers, bears. In case of building, this building is an object. Now visitors are objects, staff, and inside the staff there will be admin, animal care, etc. Okay. Now each class of object includes descriptive data. For example, if I define a class called animals, then it can include species, color, length, height or weight, and similar things. In case of it can also a class also holds the objects associated set of actions. Therefore, what actions can be performed in that class. Some of the actions in case of the zoo class can be for animals can be sleeping, eating, excreting, etc. A class is a new type of a variable. You've already studied what a variable is. In case of primitive data types, a variable is an entity that holds certain information in accordance with its data type. Like integer data type holds values like integers, and float and double hold values like decimal values. So the class definitions specifies what descriptive data is needed. Programming terminology attributes is equal to data, new definition. And what are the possible sets of actions? Programming terminology, method is equal to actions, new definition. A method is the object oriented equivalent of a function. Okay, you are already familiar with the term function. Then what is a method? Whenever a method is declared and defined inside a class, it is known as a method. And a function is used to specify a particular block of code that is defined outside a class. Now, for defining a class in Java, there can be attributes or methods inside a class. As here you can see the example of a person class that has age defined to be integer and private, public, and protected are the scopes. I will deal regarding it in the next lecture. And then here we can see the age is attribute and person is a method, a class method. Okay, and what this function person, this is a special kind of a function method called a constructor. It is just initializing the value of the attribute inside the class, that is age. Now there is another method, say age, that has void as its return type, and it's not taking any arguments, and what it is doing is it is just printing the age, that is the attribute of the class. Now in case of program design, each class definition, for example public class, must occur in its own .java file. whenever you are going to define a class, you will name that file having the same name as that of a class. Okay, suppose there are files like driver.java and person.java. Here we are taking up a simple example of creating a simple class like a driver class. How can we define a class? We have to put the keyword class and then the name of the class, that is public class driver, and then we are putting the main function inside this class, and inside the main function what we are doing is making an object a person of the class person, instantiating it, and then we are calling a method called say hello. Now this person class is defined somewhere else. Okay, this is the person class. It is having a function say hello, which is just printing I don't wanna say hello. As you can see in the previous slide, the output is I don't wanna say hello. Now what are classes? Okay, after going through these examples, might be knowing or getting an idea exactly what a class is. That is, a class specifies the characteristics of an entity but is not an instance of that entity. It defines the characteristics of an entity. It can define what the objects will have in common, what are the various characteristics of the entity, but it is not an instance of that entity. The instance is known as the object. Much like a blueprint that specifies the characteristics of a building, that is its height, its width and length, etc. So does the class holds the characteristics of an entity. Okay, the blueprint in itself is not the building, but when it is concretized, then it becomes a building. In the same fashion, the class also contains the characteristics. It specifies the characteristics what its object will have, but it's not itself an object or an instantiation. Okay, now what is an object? An object is a specific instance or example of a class. Objects have all the attributes specified in the class definition. That is, if a class is having suppose two attributes like height and width, then these will also be included inside the object's definition. And if it is the class is having a function, say creating area, then that function will also be there in the object. Now how can we define the attributes of a class? As you can see in this example, that a person class is having an attribute of age. Okay, first what we will do, we will start with the declaration of the class person, and then inside the curly braces we will define, first of all we will provide the scope of that attribute. Here in this case it is age, and we also specify the data type. Now attributes are the data that describe each instance of an example of a class. Okay, different objects have the same attributes, but the values of the attributes can vary. Like a class has, suppose in this example, the previous one, that the class is having the attribute age. Okay, but whenever the objects will be created of the person class, then they will have different values of age in their implementation, in their instantiation. Okay, then how to define methods? We have seen how to define the attributes, but now we want to define some method inside a class. So what will we do? We will give the name of the method and provide the body inside the curly braces as a block. Suppose in the person class we want to introduce the say age method, and that has nothing to return, that is void, and its scope is public, that it will be visible from everywhere. And inside the body, that is inside the curly braces, I am writing that system.out.println my age is age. Now this age is the attribute inside the person class. It's not shown here, but as you can see in the previous slide, that this person class is also having an attribute called age. So now the method say age is defined, it's given its body, and system.out.println it's going to print my age is whatever age the object is having in its attribute age. Okay, now the parameter, what are the parameters? Parameters are the objects, the variables of objects that are passed inside a method. Okay, simple types means primitive types. Objects can also be passed and arrays can also be passed. Okay, Now, what can be the return value? The return value, as the arguments can be of three types, so does the return values. The simple types, the method can return simple types, that is primitive types. It can return objects of other uh, classes or the same class, and and it can also return arrays. Okay. What are methods? Possible behaviors or actions for each instance example of a class. That is, a method is a possible behavior or action for each instance example of a class. It provides for the actions and the behavior whatever that object of a particular class can do with the help of that method. Now, what is instantiation? Instantiation is creating a new instance or example of a class. First of all, we declare or define a class, we give the body of the class, and whenever we make an object of that class, it means that we are instantiating that object of the particular class. Like suppose the class is a type of a user defined data type. Okay, so when just like variables are instantiated, so does the, not all variables are instantiated, I must tell you. Only the primitive types can be declared without the use of new, but in case of objects and arrays and strings, we have to use new keyword, which will in turn instantiate the object. Now, instances of a class are referred as objects, and this is the simple syntax of creating a particular object of a class. That is, first of all, we have to write the class name, then the name of the object which we want to create, and equals the new keyword, and then the name of the class, and opening and closing parenthesis. Now, this opening and closing parenthesis actually means that we are providing the constructor. Okay, constructor. What is a constructor? We will go through it very shortly. And some examples are person. This is a class as we studied. Person class. Then Jim is the object, is equal to new person, again the class, and then opening and closing parenthesis. Now, as we can see over here, like we have already studied the scanner class in Java input output lecture, that scanner in is equal to new scanner system.in. This system.in is passed as a parameter inside the constructor of the class of the class scanner. So thus the new object in is created by the help of a constructor of its class and providing system.in as a parameter. Okay. Now, what is a constructor? A constructor is a special method to initialize the attributes of an object as the objects are instantiated or created. It means that whenever you are creating an object of a particular class that has some attributes, like in the previous examples we have a person class and the attribute was age. So what we did, in order to initialize the object of the class or instantiate it, and at the same time providing the initialization value of the attributes of the class, we can give the values of the attributes as parameters, and this process and this method, this is also a type of a method. As you can see in this example, what is done is that we are providing some value inside it. Okay, this is scanner and this parenthesis, this is known as the constructor. Okay, and here nothing is passed. When nothing is passed, then the constructor is known as a default constructor, and it is handled by the Java itself. Okay, now in this case something is given inside it in order to initialize the attributes. So in order to initialize the attributes when creating a particular object through a constructor for a class, then this means that we are making a constructor. Now here, as we are shown that there is an object, okay, and this object is having three attributes x, y, and z. Then through the help of the constructor, what we are doing is we are initializing x, y, and z of that object with the help of a constructor. The constructor is automatically invoked whenever an instance of the class is created. For example, person, a person is equal to new person. Now this is known as a default constructor. Why? Because we are not passing anything. Okay, constructors can take parameters but never have a return type. This you should very well know and understand, that the constructors are a type of methods, no doubt, but they never return any value. Because, and another thing is that the name of the constructor is the same as that of a class. So the constructors can take parameters but never have a return type. This call to a constructor creates something new. What is that new? Is the object. Okay. Now new term, that is a default constructor. What is the default constructor that I told you? That takes no parameter. It doesn't have any parameters inside it, and if no constructors are defined for a class, then a default constructor comes in built into the Java language. If we are not defining any constructor for ourselves, okay, then no problem. Then the Java language itself takes care of it, and what it does is, if you are not providing any parameter inside the constructor, then it will launch the default constructor. And this is what is being done in this example, that person A person is equal to new person. It is not providing any initialization values, so the Java language will take care of it. Okay. Now if we want to call methods outside that of a class, like the scanner, as you can see over here, example person Jim is equal to new person, Jim dot say name. Okay, this is the function that is called by the object of a class person. Then scanner in is equal to new scanner system dot in, and system dot out dot print enter your age, and age is in dot next end. So actually there is no problem whenever you want to call the method of another object in the class, in some different class, then it can also be done. Okay, now as you can see over here, this is the scanner variable and this is the calling method, which are different from the class person. Like public static void, this is the class driver. It is having the main method, and inside this driver class we are making objects of person class. Okay, and then we are we cannot specify the name of the function method directly. In that case, we have to for it to happen, we have to provide the name of the object and the method of that object as BART dot become older. This function call or the method call is made inside the declaration of the class driver, and then another object BART is used to fire the method of that object. Now here you can see there is a class called person. It is having an attribute age, and then there is a method known as birthday, which is calling become older, and this become older is defined inside the class itself. So this will run and will not create any problem. Now we can provide the definition of a particular class in 2 lines or in a single line. Okay, first, like person Jim, you can declare an object of type person that is known as Jim, and then in the next line we can also use Jim is equal to new person 12. This will instantiate it and again call the constructor, and then 12 will be passed to initialize the attributes. Okay. Now what are accessor methods? Accessor methods are those methods that are used to retrieve the value of an attribute of a class. Like we can name the accessor method get. Okay, suppose we just want to get the age. Age is an attribute defined inside the class called person. If we want to retrieve the value of age, one thing can be done is to make age public, but that is not a good practice. In fact, it's totally forbidden due to the reasons of abstractions. Then what we should do, we should do one thing, that we will define a public property of a private attribute. Then this public property is get age and the attribute is age. It will return that age. And what are mutator methods? Mutator methods are also known as the set methods. They are used to set the value of an attribute without making it public. Okay, then making it private has the same reasons as that of a getter or the get. we cannot expose that variable directly by making it public. So in order to get the value or set the value, we make properties. In order to set the value, we make set methods, and in order to get the values of an attribute, we make get methods. Now what are constructors? Constructors are used to initialize objects, set the attributes as they are created. Okay, I've already gone through these constructors. Let us have a brisk view. Like different versions of the constructor can be implemented with different initializations. For example, one version sets all attributes to default values, while another version sets some attributes to the value of parameters. Now what happens is we use constructors to initialize the values of the attributes in a class. Now this thing can be done in many ways. We can have different overloaded forms of the constructor having different types of attributes inside the parameter list, and the constructor that when at the time of making or instantiating an object, the constructor matches the arguments as supplied by the at the time of instantiation of the object, and it will call the respective constructor according to the suitable match of its arguments and argument types. Now, as we can see over here, this is a person, this is a public person int an age. This is a method. Okay, what it is doing is it's initializing the age attribute with an age, as you can see. But this method overloading same method name different parameter list. Actually, overloading means if we are having the same method name and there are different parameter lists. So in this example, as you can see, like public person int an age and public person, here what is happening is the function or the method person has the same name in these two examples, but the problem is that in this example it is having the attribute of type integer, and here it is not having any argument. So when it is not having any argument, it is assumed that age will be 0 and name will be no name. And then if it is having some value, like it's passed an age like variable, then this age attribute will be set to the passed value. Okay. Now this class person is having two attributes, age and name, then public person. Now this is always defined to be public, the constructor, and what it is doing is it is calling the person function. Okay, it is just printing that person is called, and age is equal to 0 and name is equal to no name. Okay. Now in this case, as you can see, this person constructor is having an integer argument, and that way it is initializing only the age attribute. Here it is having a string argument, and it is initializing age to be 0 and name to be a name, that is passed as an argument. Then this person having two arguments, age and a name, that is both. So what will it do? It will first print a message that person int string is called, and then age will be set to an age and name will be set to a name. Now as we can see, if we wouldn't used the constructor, then we would have defined different methods that will do the same thing. Okay, but if we are having a facility that we can use directly by the help of a constructor, then there is no need of initializing the attributes with specifically designed methods. Okay. Now as you can see, our driver class, it has been shown over here like public static void main string args. Now there are 4 objects created of person class, and all these 4 constructors are different. Like first of all, the default constructor, that is age and name, and then only an integer is passed, gym2 is gym2, and then gym3 the string is passed, and in the last case an integer and a string is passed. So it will accordingly fire that constructor which will be having the same types of values of attributes. Now, what is a method signature? Whenever we declare a method, then the return type plus the name of the function and the data types of the arguments and the number of arguments will together make a method signature. Then a method signature consists of the type, number, and order of the parameters. It is not the return type is not considered as part of a method signature. The signature will determine the overloaded method called. Okay, whatever the signature will be, in the it will whenever the new object is passed or whenever the new object is created, then it will depend upon the arguments and the type of argument that are passed inside the constructor, that what constructor it is going to call. Okay, overloading is definitely a good design, and methods that implement similar but not identical tasks. Okay, if there are suppose a couple of methods or 3-4 methods that are having a similar type of purpose, then what happens is that we give the same names. Like suppose we are creating functions called area, and this area has to be calculated for a square, rectangle, a triangle, and a trapezius. Then what will we do? We will name the function or the method to be area, and then we will pass the arguments accordingly. So the respective overloaded form of the constructor will be called. Now there are examples in which Java as a programming language, it has overloaded forms of methods. A very easy example is println. That println function prints the integer as well as double as well as string. So in that way we can use our self-designed constructors as well as functions or methods. Now benefit, just call the method with required parameters and the corresponding method will be called. That's the most important benefit of a overloaded form of a method. Then what is encapsulation and a related term, information hiding. The encapsulation protects the inner workings of a data of a class. Only allow access to the core of an object in a controlled fashion. Use the public parts of the access the private sections. Then typically it means public methods accessing private attributes via accessor and mutator methods. Okay, and encapsulation simply means that we have to we are grouping together, or we are making a capsule that contains attributes as well as methods that have the functionality to either change or modify or manipulate the attributes. So the attributes and the methods go hand in hand, and that is the main purpose of encapsulation. Okay, and what is information hiding? Information hiding is a very related term to data abstraction. That is, whatever information that we want to expose or to give to different levels of users. In that case, with the help of private, protected, and public and default keywords and scope, we are able to provide data abstraction. Protects the another benefit is it protects the inner working. Okay, and then only allow access to the core of an object in a controlled fashion. Use the public parts to access the private sections. And typically it means public methods accessing private attributes via accessor and mutator methods. Okay. Now what is a inventory class? Just an example, that public int stock level, and this inventory having the attribute stock level is equal to 0. Okay, and then we are having our driver class that is having the main method, and in that case we are having inventory class sys object Chinook is instantiated and its stock level is set to 10. Okay, and then we have print the value, and we are again and again using the stock level variable, and we are setting the value and printing it. Now In today's lecture, you must have known that what are classes, how do we instantiate objects and access different parts of an object, what is a constructor, how it is defined and used, then what are accessor and mutator methods, that is get and set, and how they can be used in conjunction with encapsulation. Then we threw some light upon what is method overloading and why is it regarded as a good style. Method overloading is always regarded as a good style because it is a practice in which the common things are grouped inside methods, and that method is having the same name, but only it is differentiated on the basis of the arguments or the types of the arguments that are passed inside the as parameters to those methods. Then what is encapsulation, information hiding? The encapsulation means grouping together the attributes and the methods, that is the state and the behavior. And what is the regarding information hiding or abstraction, we only provide permission to the person or the user who is authenticated for it. Okay, so that is that is done with the help of the private, public, and protected scopes. And then how is abstraction and encapsulation done? It is done with the help of these three keywords, and it is important to write programs that follow this principle. Okay, thank you very much for this lecture.